Yo, what's good, guys? So good news and bad news. I don't know how many of you guys follow me on my Facebook fan page. The bad news is, for those of you who didn't see a while ago, my laptop kind of hit the wall. It can't really record long showdown sessions like I've been doing, so that's kind of part of the reason why I stopped uploading for a little bit. The good news is, however, is that a couple days ago, I started backing up some single matches like this, so I can bring you guys showdown replays. But that's about the extent of what I can do for now. I really need to kind of figure out something to do with my laptop so that way I can, you know, bring you guys some content, because I still like uploading, and I've gotten like this real win for OU recently. I think it's because I finally made a stall team. But yeah. Anyways, so yay, uploads will reoccur again, but they're going to be single replays like this. So, anyways, let's talk about the match right now. I got an OU match, like I said. I made a stall team finally. I sat down. I went to PAX East recently. I didn't really know what the format was going to be, so I sat down and I made like some really serious try-hard team, because that's what I do when I have a competition. I make serious try-hard teams, and I play stall, so I knew I definitely wanted to lean in that direction. I don't really know. I guess what I kind of went with was last generation. I had a really good rain stall team at the end of, like, the very end of Black and White 2 OU, and I guess I based it around that same core, the Chansey Landours core, because that still works really well even this generation. Did a couple of tweakings. I originally had Ferrothorn as opposed to Rose Raid, but I ended up liking Rose Raid more because I get a Toxic Spikes immunity, because that's something I did think about, like I said, and a Natural Cure as well, so Rose Raid really doesn't mind statuses. I also put Quaggy on. I have Quagsire as opposed to Clefable, there we go, that's what it's called. Clefable, just because Quagsire just has an easier time taking hits, I feel, from certain things, as opposed to Clefable. And not only that, but like with Clefable, I feel like you miss out on some certain coverages and some certain resistances that Quagsire does provide. I know it does have the dragon immunity, but you know, I do have Excadrill, which is especially defensive. And that really definitely helps out a lot. Not a lot of people expect it, obviously, because, you know, most people expect offensive Excadrill, but, you know, this is a stall team, so I took a more defensive approach, obviously. Yeah, it also has Yawn. You don't see it this match, though, but it does have Yawn phasing, which is something I don't think Clefable gets any kind of phasing move, and I really wanted a phaser on this team. So Quaggy kind of does as a pseudo phaser, because if I know if Quagsire is getting too low to the point where, like, you know, something might have to also take it on, Quagsire can pseudo-phase with Yawn. Like I said, that is especially defensive Excadrill. That's a custom spread, and when the time comes, it really shines this battle, and you'll see why. And then I have a especially defensive Charizard X with Flare Blitz. I know it's supposed to normally be Earthquake or Fire Punch, but it helps me 2-hit KO Stall Breaking Mew, and as you can see from this team, Stall Breaking Mew is the bane to my existence. Any Stall Breaker really is. Well, Stall Breaking Talonflame not so much because of Stealth Rocks, and I have ways around it, especially with Quagsire having Scald and whatnot, but still, definitely helps a lot with Stall Breaking Talonflame and Stall Breaking Mew to some extent. But anyways, let's talk about my opponent's team real quick. Seems, I don't know, I guess it looks standard ORAS to me. I was about to say XY. Whoops. Seems standard ORAS to me. The one thing that you guys have probably noticed by now is that Sableye is more than likely Mega Sableye. Honestly, as soon as I saw this thing, I was like, no, not worried. Nope, nope. Because me being the stall player that I am and doing it now for a couple generations, you try to find ways around those things that destroy stall teams, and Mega Sableye can literally one-handed turn a stall team upside down if it wants to. But I have ways around it, and I was not worried. Other than that, I guess the only other threats that I was really seeing, honestly, was Latios, even though I know most of them are Life Orb, Defog, in case it's like Scarf or Choice Specs in some ways. I didn't want anything getting really tricked. Part of the reason also why I have Charizard X is for trick fodder, because, you know, you can't trick away a Mecha Stone. But other than that, no real major concerns. Jirachi, if it is the Subtoxic set, could get annoying, but I do have ways around that, so I'll just have to play carefully and see what kind of Jirachi it is right from the start. And once I figure that out, and as long as his Latios isn't choiced in any way and doesn't trick me, I should be pretty gold in this match, actually. This is a pretty straightforward match. Also, just something I do want to note, and you'll understand why this comes into play later. The first thing I noticed when I looked at his team when I went into this match, I noticed Rose Raid was not going to be that important. I mean, if you look at his team, majority of his team is levitating, doesn't get affected by spikes. Roserade really only checks one thing because I am Toxic Leech Seed, Giga Drain, and Sludge Bomb. And that is Rotom. That's about the extent. So I knew in my head Roserade was not that important. But like I said, you'll see later how this goes into things. And Jesus, I've been talking way too long. Alright, let's start talking about this battle. Let's talk about this battle. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually lead off with Landours, you know, standard lead to anything in life. And he's gonna lead out with Jirachi. He goes for sub right away, which leads me to believe that he is the sub-toxic set. So I'm definitely gonna keep that in the back of my mind, especially now because he does show toxic, and that could definitely become a major problem, further down the road if it comes to it. But anyways, I knock off, then get up my rocks just because I wanted to kind of scare him out. But he actually ends up staying in, going in for Iron Head as I bring out Excadrill. Again, I'm just trying to scare. Now, I thought he was going to see the Mold Breaker thing, so I was anticipating Landours-T, but what's this man do? This man goes down to his Laios. I could have popped him with an Earthquake so quick. So quick. But anyways, I don't want to stay and take a Draco, so I go out and Chansey as he just defogs, and I go for a soft boiled. You know, I'm just trying to be annoying with Chansey here. This is the dual recovery Chansey that I always use. And yeah, and then I just go back out into Excadrill because honestly, I was kind of anticipating either a Psyshock, or the Draco. I didn't really know which, but either way, I knew Excadrill could take it on. And like I said, I have Earthquake, which I'm now going to go for and destroy this Rotom. And I'm sure this man was sitting there in his chair like, what just happened? Because, you know, I was expecting him to read. But, you know, that was too much. But anyways, so Will-O-Wisp is a thing. He doesn't hit. Doesn't really matter because, like I said, Roserade has Natural Cure, so it was going to go anyways. And besides, I hit off the special end of the spectrum. I went for Leech Seed there, actually anticipating the Jirachi switch or the Heatran switch, whichever one he was going to do, but he just ends up staying it in, sacking his Rotom, which I guess looking at my team, it wasn't going to do that much to start with, especially because I had Chansey around, so I guess I understand why he made that play. But now in comes Heatran, and he's going to Toxic me. He does reveal Protect here, I believe, sometime soon. I'm sorry, my Camtasia just freaked. But, I don't want to stay in. I don't want to get Toxic racked up on me, so I'm going to make a risky switch out into Landorus, as I know he is going to go for the Lava Plume. Unfortunately, he did end up getting the burn, and I say unfortunately because I was kind of depending on this thing to check his Heatran, and to some extent Jirachi, because Jirachi did have Toxic, but I guess the good news is that Landorus can't get Toxic, so it is consistent damage. Now, I'm going to just pause the recording right here for just a second. So, this is Mega Sableye. For those of you who aren't too familiar with what Mega Sableye basically does, generally it sets up Calm Minds. It either has Shadow Ball or Dark Pulse depending, Recover, and then Will-O-Wisp. All of those moves, along with Magic Bounce, completely destroy and just cancel out Stall altogether. So I'm basically assuming at this point that this man's whole goal was to basically weaken my team, which he kind of did with Chansey. I think Chansey's hanging around like 50-ish%, 60-ish% right now. And he was just going to try to set up and basically, you know, destroy my life from that point out. However, children, because we think of everything on stall teams here, So anyways, he goes for Calm Mind. I'm going to U-turn out. I'm going to go out into Excadrill. Mold Breaker Excadrill, children, with Toxic. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So, that is my way to check Sableye. It is Mold Breaker Excadrill with Toxic. No one ever sees that coming. Like, I would never guess that. But, you know, I did it, so bam. Now I would expect it. So that's how I take on Sableye. He is Toxic. He is basically dead at this point. Especially with Chansey to wall. So, I'm just going to go for Soft Boil because, like I said, I can wall that Sableye for days. And he goes out into his Landorus. I'm going to just switch out into Quagsire. Don't want to really take anything. He goes for Knock Off. Knocks off my lefties. It's not a huge deal, to be totally honest. Quagsire doesn't really mind it. It does have recovery. So, I'm just going to Scald just to hopefully get a burn on something. Or, you know, whatever wants to come in. Just get some damage off. He chooses Jirachi. And then he just goes right out into Latios. Goes for Roost. And I bring in Excadrill. Kind of just basically... it's pseudo fodder, I guess you could say. I was kind of hoping to get some more use out of it, but he does end up getting a crit with the Psyshock, so my life is cut short. Especially because it was going to be really hard to get a Wish Pass with Chansey on that thing. Anyways, Draco dropped. I actually did predict that, so that's actually why I went out to Chansey here, because I was sick of taking Psyshocks, because they're doing almost 50% to my poor little Chansey. But I do believe I do end up going for the Wish here. I'm trying to Wish Pass, like I said, around because things are starting to get weaker, and the whole goal of the stall team is to be bulky and stally and annoying. I'm not entirely sure why he went for Stone Edge there, I guess predicting my Lando, which is, you know, a reasonable prediction, but like I said, Lando's getting kind of low. It is burned, so I can't do a whole lot, so I kind of wanted to use Quagsire first now before anything. But, anyways, Latios is back in. I'm just gonna fodder off Excadrill here because honestly, at this point, I was like, well, I'm not really gonna get a chance to Wish Pass anytime soon into it. So, the one thing I guess I was scared of most was, like, his Jirachi randomly having Healing Wish, but I was like, no, it's Subtoxic. It wouldn't have that. It's like, whatever, Subtoxic, Iron Head, Fire Punch, I think, something like that. Anyways, so fodder that off. He just goes for Side Shock here as I bring in my Chansey. I'm just gonna go straight for the Soft Boil because Obnoxious Chansey is obnoxious. And then he just goes down to Mega Sableye here. I have no reason not to stay in and just completely stall this thing out because there's nothing Mega Sableye can do at this point because it is toxic. It can try to recover as much as it would like, but it's not going to be doing a whole lot. Anyways, finally get to Wish Pass into my Charizard here since unfortunately I can't spin away the rocks because I let go of Excra. And I am just going to go straight for the Dragon Claw. The reason I didn't go for Flare Blitz flat out, even though I'm sure from that range it probably could have KO'd, was because I want him to think that that I do have Earthquake for his Heatran. Now, let's talk about this play right here, the Draco and the Latios. Like I said from the start, I knew Roserade was completely useless outside of checking Rotom. So stupid me sits there and is like, oh, he might recover, he might roost, he might, you know, whatever. I'll stay in and I'll just Dragon Claw and kill him. I totally should have sacked Roserade right there. I had no reason to keep it. It doesn't do anything for me at this point. If he did recover, then I could have just sacked it and gone into Chansey and could have gone from there. But no, I tossed away Charizard, who was probably more useful, especially for Jirachi. And if I could get his Landours locked in on knockoff, I would be good to go. Because like I said before, some especially defensive Charizards run Earthquake. I had not revealed to him my 4th move yet. So he could have assumed Earthquake and either would have stayed in with Landours and got smacked with a Flare Blitz, or he could have gone out to Jirachi and just, I don't know, maybe hoped he could have taken an Earthquake, but would have gotten smacked with a Flare Blitz. So that was just a bad play on my behalf, and as soon as I made that play, I kind of thought in the back of my head that it was over, just because I realized how much I needed Charizard at that point. Anyways, so I'm going to go out to Landours here, just because from everything left on his team, Landours kind of just checks everything fairly well. Because he doesn't end up going for the knockoff. Now, that crit was so annoying, just because it was going to make things harder for me to wish up with Chansey. But anyways, I do go out into Quagsire here. I know he's not going to stay in and take a Scald. I'm just going to go right for Earthquake, because Rachi doesn't want to take one, Heatran doesn't want to take one, and Heatran almost gets KO'd. If I had Stealth Rocks up, like a good player, I probably would have been able to KO him. But he goes for Protect there. I'm not entirely sure why, and he Toxics me, and then I ask Toss to kill. So, we're good. And then he leaves. Now, I'm a little surprised by that, because one, he had Jirachi left. Now, if you look at the rest of my team, Landours wasn't going to be doing a whole lot because it was burned, and I was not going to have a safe opportunity to switch that thing in without Jirachi potentially hitting me and knocking me out, especially after Stealth Rocks. So I could not wish that up. Quagsire was going to get Toxics to death, because I don't have Aromatherapy or Heal Bell on Chansey. Roserade certainly cannot touch it, and it probably has 404 HP, which means Chansey's S-Tosses won't be doing much, meaning he could have literally just won with Jirachi, which is why I'm not sure why he left. So, I think if he actually played this match out, I think he probably would have won in the end, as opposed to me, because he just forfeited. Again, I don't know why he did. The only thing I guess I could think of is that he wasn't running Fire Punch on his Jirachi, but he was running something else. But even in that sense, like, my Roserade still can't touch him at the end of the day. I can break all the subs I want, but I'm pretty sure he's still faster than my Roserade because I have, like, 8 speed in it, or some small, minuscule amount. I'm sure he's running some speed. And so I guess I just don't understand why he left. But either way, I still thought it was a pretty good match. And I just also wanted to showcase this team because this is probably going to be my team for a little bit. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff down in the description. I'll probably be on Showdown more, playing OU. So if you run into me, that could be a thing. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. That's all my PSAs. Yeah, I guess I'll just see you guys when I do. Later.